everyone for attending my presentation here. So I'm sure that you hear a lot about AI these days from various industries and what AI can do. Today I'm just going to introduce you what we can do with AI and high-performance computers about controlling financial risk management, which pretty much everybody knows is a problem in the last decade. So first of all, let's have a look at what we're really facing and why we need AI and HPCs. So worldwide, I would say, but there are so many different financial markets, trading, personal finance, banking, whatever that is. And it's been estimated that, for example, in London alone, on a daily basis, there will be $600 million trade per second. So that is the volume we are really facing, right? And these days we are facing the explosion of big data. So all sorts of data we have. And actually, people are using different devices to trade. Traditionally, people used to go for phones, people go for a PC or laptop, whatever. But these days, most people start using mobile. So whatever that is, the key thing for a financial system is how you can actually have a better decision-making mechanisms so that you can have the financial risks under control. Well, that's what the society would need it. So first of all, because I have a limited time, I'll just give you a very quick sort of brief view of some of the experiments we have done with machine learning algorithms. There are some well-known economic theories. The Nobel Prize winner, Farmer, says, in financial markets, you cannot predict the future. Right? That's what the Farmer says. So he won the Nobel Prize in 1967. And what we are trying to try is, with the AI-aided technology, can we predict the future? Can we predict stock prices? So what we did is we use the latest machine learning algorithms and test pretty much all the global stock prices, about 200-ish, running various parameter sweeping experiments and trying to see where actually we can actually beat the market or not. So, and on various scales, on daily basis, second basis, monthly basis, or weekly basis. So, and we are trying to seek for evidences whether we can use machine learning algorithms which can beat the market. So I have to say that if you are using normal machine learning algorithms, excluding deep learnings, no, you cannot. And when you're using deep learning, it depends. It depends on which market you are trying to predict. Because this sort of work we have been done with some of the financial companies, I cannot show you exactly which market is predictable and which isn't, but I can tell you is, with AI, yes, we can. Oops. This is some of the Southampton's supercomputers, which we just running most of our experiments on those supercomputers, right? And this is one example how people actually absorb information with taking financial risks. So I'm sure that everybody has used Google Map before, right? So basically, this is a piece of Google Map information, and this is a piece of different Google Map images. And what we have been finding interesting is, for example, before 2013, right? So Google Map is called a Keyhole. It's a separate company. And then I think in this 2005, it has been absorbed, bought by Google, right? And we have tried some of the financial markets to see, for example, whether a certain market can be predictable by using Google Map information, the satellite images. And again, for example, before 2013, actually, nobody knows about the Google Map. And there's no report about that, right? And it's just about after the Iraq War, I think somewhere around, I can't remember, it's around here, right? And people start awareing there are such new technologies. And the number of reports about the Google Map and the users going up and up and up. And actually, what we can see, the Google Map download goes up and up as well. And eventually, what we saw is, because this information has been purely absorbed in the market, and with that information has been sort of interpreted, you cannot use it to predict the market anymore. Right? So another example I'm trying to give quickly is about the mobile technology. So these days, I think worldwide there are more than 4 billion people use mobiles, right? I'm pretty certain that perhaps everybody in this room or sitting here has a mobile device. And what we are trying to examine is how actually mobile devices helped or maybe actually changed the way people make financial risk-taking decisions, right? And what we did actually is seeing, for example, in London Stock Exchange, when these days most people using their mobile to say buy or sell stocks, right? And from the exchange's perspective, they want to monitor, right, for like millions of traders, who is making money and who isn't, and what sort of risk-taking behavior they're doing, and what sort of people thinking about, right, for the monitoring and risk control purposes. And this is a very typical sort of interface you may see about mobile-based trading, and we did some of this project with some leading firms in London. And what we actually see, for example, whether when people use your smartphones, do they actually have a better profits? Have they got like a bigger risk taking? And actually have they been subject to big biases, right, as human beings? And the results we have been found, I'm not going to go into any details about this, right? Compared mobile traders compared with non-mobile traders. And our findings actually, what we find actually is, actually when people tend to use mobile, they do actually make a better profit, right? And they do have a little better risk control. And when we go underlying of it, what we find actually is there's a big digital divide in between those people. For example, when people use smartphones, they tend to be young, better educated, and actually generally have a better education background and smarter. So in the sense of when they use mobile, there are different ethnic groups of people who can use smart mobile and who cannot. That is one thing. And the other thing we're trying to find is when people using mobiles, they tend to be overconfident. They tend to trade, make decisions more frequently. And they tend to trade more and more and more. So sometimes even if they have better education backgrounds, they may tend to take more risks. And they may have subject to more biases with that small piece of devices. And you can imagine these days with AI-aided technologies, the trading companies, the exchange, can actually learning traders' behavior or individual investors' behavior behind the exchange and knowing what is happening under the entire markets and with a better risk control. So I'm going back to this slide slightly later actually, perhaps maybe now actually. And what we're trying to find is AI does not really produce technology advantage and make the society better. What it actually also produced is a digital divide for the people who actually, for the countries which can use the technologies and which cannot use the technologies, make a big societal dividend. For example, if you see some of the well-developed places where they use AI-aided technologies for education, and some of the developing countries which cannot, you can imagine what will the impact for the next generation, right? So there are social problems and there are sort of society problems the government need to address. And also when we look back, for example, the London, for example, square mile, which is just about this much in the city of London, and you can see actually those kind of technology we developed can help the financial company to actually control the risks. And this is one example project we did with a leading firm in London, where we are using AI technology in the back to learn traders' behavior and predict the markets. And also we use cognitive, intuitive ways of displaying some market information, making sort of tracking of every individual traders, investors in the market, to know what information they need to see, what's their performance, and whether they will make sort of more profits, take more risks in the future or not, in a sort of human intuitive ways. Because there are some work human being is good at, for example, reasoning, thinking, and cognition. But there are some work machine is better doing it. For example, like computation on numbers. And what we tend to do is using AI as a sort of assistant technology to help the sort of financial companies to control, understand their customers better, and to control the risks behind those trading decisions. And this is one example of diagram in the background where we are using deep learnings, so deep neural networks, trying to learn the behavior, predict the markets, and actually, for example, for the bookmakers, we're helping them to make a decision where the market goes, what traders are doing, and whether they should make hedging decisions, and what is the real-time risks at the moment that they need to actually be aware of. Because we all know what happened to Lehman Brothers, where they don't know what risks they have been involved, and they get bankrupted. Well, there are some other things we are doing. I'm not going through everything in detail because due to limit of time. Because these days, I'm not sure, like mobile payments, mobile lending, so that because of the mobile work we have done, we know how people actually making those monetary related decisions. And those are going to help us to build profiles, understanding individual customers, individual people when they are using mobile. And when you can analyze the information with AI and HPC technologies, it has generate new business opportunities. This is like, for example, what we call risk profile DNA. We built for a finance company to assess whether if you borrow money using mobile, saying $500, a month later, the bank or saying the finance company will know whether you will pay back or not by understanding your behavior, right, and your gender, age, your education background. So this is what we do, and what we think is AI and the HPC technology are assistive technologies for us to more accurately assess risks associated with finance, and that is going to help us to build our society better. And these are the number of companies we have been working with in Europe, in London. So I'm sure you may recognize some of them, and may mostly Europe-based, but there are some American companies around as well. So we're hoping that by understanding risks and decision-making from the people's perspective, from industry organizations' perspective, with AI technologies, and if we can compute that fast enough, then we will make this world better. Well, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ma. Thank you, Dr. Ma.